Whatever happened to Dave 2D? You guys remember Dave 2D? All right. Well, Dave, he was a YouTuber that would roast the bigger RV and van life channels that featured, the hot chicks. The ones that had the perfect spotless vans. The girls were always half naked and they were laying on their bed with their thong and their asses out as they were looking out at the beautiful beach or something like that. They lived in a van, and even though it was just a small van, there was a couple in there. The girl, she had 20 pairs of shoes, 40 dresses, and 10 bikinis. Those kind of channels. And now Dave also tried his hand at some travel stuff of him living in his van or some sort of vehicle, because he had a couple of them. But yeah, those videos didn't go over so well. Nobody really gave a shit about that. Now, good old California Dave, he was a lazy mama's boy. He was of the same mindset that of Bob Wells. Don't waste your time at work. Live your best life while living in a vehicle. Dave did a few videos where he would, break down everything about, you spend this much time driving to and from work, and this much time at work, and this much time doing this and washing after work. And he explains everything and just tries to convince himself and you that being a lazy ass mama's boy is way better than being, going to work and being a contribute part of society. But yeah, he explained that all this working, driving, and it was all just a big waste of time. You could be doing other things.
You have to sacrifice $1,000 worth of your time, right, to get the money. So you're losing the time it takes to make $1,000, and then you take that $1,000 and you throw it in the trash can because you just paid your rent. So the time you had to hold on to that box where all your shit's in, called your apartment, you spent half your month getting the money to throw at that, and now you're back to nowhere. So it was a total fucking waste of time. Rent, I don't care if it's rent or mortgage, you are totally under the fucking foot of the man, because either way, you have to sacrifice 20 hours a week just to cover that shit so you can live in that box. And with van life, you don't have to do any of that, and you still get the box.
They reiterated that fools worked and lived in houses. Now, the thing is that he expected his mommy to be that fool. Mommy had to go to work and pay all the bills for a house. The house that Mr. Lazy Ass took full advantage of. See, Dave didn't travel much. He spent most of his time in Mommy's driveway. He used the fool's, that's right, the one that went to work and paid for everything. He used that fool's kitchen to cook and eat the free food that the fool provided. He used the washer and dryer to do his laundry. And where do you think he took a shit and took a shower? Oh, yes, you guessed it. Mommy's. She was the fool that took care of her spoiled, lazy little brat, even though he was well into his 30s. They would make some videos of him banging some 2x4s together in Mommy's driveway to build out his van. It looked like a toddler with some play school tools built that shit. Yeah, he zero skills. The rest of the time, he would just sit around and choke his chicken to the hot van dweller girls and then make a video making fun of them. He was quite good at it. Let's not get that wrong. He was good at doing the roast things. But that, however, doesn't negate the fact that he was a lazy, entitled man-child kept by his mommy. It wasn't uncommon for Dave to private all his content on a whim. We don't know why, but he would do it. He would take everything down for a short period of time. Then it would just reappear again out of the blue. He did this a few times. If the timeline serves me correctly, I believe it was about 3 years ago, a girl that Dave was roasting threw herself in front of a train. Dave was bombarded with hate and accusations. His channel went away again. See, most were used to this behavior and just, they thought, well, it's just one more time that he did it. So, we'll just wait till things calm down. I'm sure make it all public again, right? Let's back up a bit and go to when Mommy sold the house and Dave didn't have a driveway to mooch dock in anymore. We'll backtrack a little bit here now. I got ahead of myself. So when Mommy cut the apron strings, Dave decided to run away to Michigan. He went to a little village called Ontonagon. The village was about 1,000 people and is on the remote shore of Lake Superior. Dave lived in a Honda Element at the time. He removed the front seat so he could lay down, and he slept with his head towards the back and his feet up on the dash.
The RV had tanks. It had the gray tanks and the black tanks. Those were nice, but bad gas mileage of the RV, having to drive to the dump sites with the bad gas mileage, just adds extra costs. Like, you're already paying more gas because it goes 10 miles per gallon. Now you have to drive even more just to throw away your shit and your piss, and other bills such as propane to run your fridge in the RV. And then what was the other thing?
Dave became friendly with what the locals call, or who the locals called, an unsavory character. Dave parked his Honda Element in this dude's yard and took up residence there. Well, Dave was his worthless, lazy ass, as usual. Some of the locals, they kind of knew of Dave from, being, I don't know, I guess you could say some kind of, somewhat of a celebrity. It's that funny guy that roasts people on YouTube. So, he had a little bit of notoriety. Now, lazy ass Dave, he did enjoy this small town notoriety and decided he was going to go look for a house. Now, he approached a guy about buying his deer camp. Now, he was waiting for money from, guess where the money was coming from? Yep, from Mommy. Yeah. He was also getting donations from Unstoppable Morgan at the time as well. Yeah. Morgan had a little internet crush on him and was just throwing money at him. Now, this dude that owned the deer camp, he told Dave, this deer camp, it's not a good place to live. It's out really secluded. It's kind of run. It's a deer camp. It's not a place to live. And lucky for Dave, this guy, he was a good dude. Because other than editing videos, Dave has zero skills. I mean, he absolutely nothing. He can barely tie his own shoes. Dave's a professional leech. He's lazy. He sleeps all day and then trolls the internet all night. Now, this dude, he went above and beyond for Dave. He found Dave a really good deal on a small house right there in the village. It was only $26,000. That's right, $26K for a house. And you think that would be, here you go. Look, no, the guy had to walk lazy ass fucking Dave 2D through the entire process of purchasing the house. He even loaned Dave, his lazy ass, $1,000 for the deposit until Mommy sent her worthless, entitled crotch goblin money.
I spent, with money I don't actually have, $26,000. That's right. I got a house for $26,000. And how did I do that? I left California. That's what I did. I left California.
Remember, working and supporting yourself is for stupid fools. He relied on his foolish mommy to work and pay all his bills. Now, after all this dude did for the narcissistic mama's boy, he never even showed appreciation or even thanked the dude for that much. Dave acted as if he were owed all this due to his being recognized for being a big YouTuber. That he's a lazy scumbag with no redeeming qualities. All right, so a year or so goes by, and Dave has been living in his rundown house. It's slowly being made livable. His windows are all covered, like some kind of crack house. He sleeps all day and fucks around on the internet all night. there for a while, he was doing some kind of painting. He was painting stuff and live streaming himself painting, and then he'd put his paintings on eBay or something and was selling paintings to get money and some other shit. But yeah, so between him doing that and Morgan sending him money, I guess he was making things happen. Well, that and Mommy Dearest. And then during all this, Dave had this endless stream of females from all over the place who come to the house. You know, most would spend a week or maybe two, and then they'd leave. You know, after seeing the conditions of the house, his weird living habits, his laziness, and him using them for money, yeah, they didn't last long. They split. Not in this little village. It's filled with sights, and it's quite a beautiful little village. Dave never wandered out to enjoy any of it. He didn't even film any of it for content. No, he just, hid in his house with his blacked out crack house windows. And during this time, this is Morgan. She was talking to Dave. He would be in her live streams, and she would be in his, and Morgan would send him money all the time. And we're not talking like $50 either. She would send hundreds at a time and multiple times. She said it in her streams quite often. It was no secret. She let it be known that she was just throwing money at this dude. Nothing changed as far as Dave. He was still just lazy and talking about everybody. He acts as if he's above everyone, even though he lives in a rundown shack that is barely livable. And like I said, he can barely tie his own shoes. He couldn't even change his own damn car battery. He continues to use people while belittling them at the same time. Yeah, I can't do anything, do it for me, and then talk shit about them. This is the kind of dude we're talking about. Well, anybody that would use their mother like that, he's a giant piece of shit. And now we're caught back up where a little bit more time goes by, and the young lady van lifer jumped in front of the train. This sends Dave into a panic. He is being bombarded with hate on the internet. He pulls all of his content and becomes even more of a paranoid recluse and just never leaves his little crack den. Somehow, a little bit after this, Dave managed to latch on to the next unsuspecting female that wandered into town. This was a young lady she was around 25 years old. She was a California hippie. Dave talked her into moving into the house. Now, he charged her $500 a month to live in this rundown shack with blacked out windows. She worked at the local grocery store so she could get some money while his lazy ass slept all day. Now, this young lady was in a car accident a while back. She had a case pending in California. She ended up getting around $500,000. This made Dave's eyes pop open and his mouth began to water. Dave just hit the jackpot. See, Dave was just using this young lady and was still flirting with his internet fans for cash and doing all that at the same time. Dave would do live streams and have like 5 different ways to give him money. It was all up on the screen. You could donate. He had, look, here. He had multiple ways that he was begging on his live stream. He was literally a professional beggar. Some may say, well, that's what I say. He was just a horrible, lazy ass. But these women, and Morgan included, would just throw money at this dude. And some of them, again, would even come and shack up with him for a little while until they found out that he was a big dirtbag. And I thought guys were simps. These women are so simple-minded. Well, anyway, when the 25-year-old money train arrived, Dave made it official and moved the girl in for real. See, this dumb broad, she bought Dave a Tesla. That's right, you heard me correct, a Tesla. The lazy con man that lives in what can be barely called a house with blacked out windows that sleeps all day and does nothing needs a Tesla for, not to mention that the fact that it gets cold there and it's a small village. There's no place to charge a damn Tesla. Well, from what I know, so far, remember that unsavory character that I mentioned in the beginning that Dave hooked up with and parked on his lawn in his little element there? Yeah, well, Dave's caught up in this, I don't know, kind of weird, strange shit with this dude. Something about a fertility cult that wants to repopulate the world with white babies. They're out running in the woods doing weird, creepy shit. I don't know, man. And that so far is the story of a California mama's boy, a lazy little prick nomad that did absolutely nothing except waste his entire life and become a professional leech. There it is, the story of Dave. 2D.
And this is BlindViews, and that's how we see it.
What we do here is go back.